It's coming soon to a television set near you. An incredibly advanced video game system. Are you ready for these amazing graphics and vibrant colors? Can you handle the speed and the power? How about the capacity for stereo sound and for 5 players? You decide before September, because it's coming. Turbografx 16, the higher energy video game system. Games sold separately.
That's right, let's play it, let's get it!
What's up, Rachel Schaefer, back with you again with another Twin Family video. And it's finally here. Took a while, but what do you expect? It's a war zone out there. It is the Turbo Everdrive Pro. A little late to the game because, as you well know, there was a jailbreak recently for the Duo. But this still has its uses. For the Turbo Everdrive, you can still use it on legit turbo hardware, PC Engine hardware. Also, you could use the adapters for the analog pocket, as currently there's no CD core for, well, there is a CD core for the pocket, but it's complete crap. So it's better to just say that there is none. And also, you can also use it for the regular Turbografx games on there as well. So this still has its uses. If you're going to get a Duo, you're better off with a jailbreak, but still, we're going to show it working on the Duo anyway. But anyway, so we got the Turbo Everdrive Pro. Crick sent this along for us to take a look at. He's from a war zone, but at the same time, it had to wait till it got to the U.S. distribution area, which I think is in Jersey where I'm at. So when it finally showed up, it just literally randomly showed up at my inbox yesterday. So it took about, I'd say, a couple months from when I reached out to it showing up here. He sends them out in boxes now, but not exactly the best. Like, if you're used to Stone Age Gamer, those boxes are so much better, and I'll show you why in a couple minutes. You can hear it rattling around in there, so I'll show you why. So you got the Turbo Everdrive Pro, built-in CD-ROM core, arcade card functions, and by the way, if this case looks familiar, that's because it should. So let's go over the features real quick. Cyclone 4 FPGA, 16 megabytes of PS RAM memory, in-game menu, multi-slot save states, which is another reason why it's good to play on the Duo, because this actually has save states, whereas the jailbreak doesn't. Teneco 2 save support, cheats, USB port, custom menu themes, instant loading. I didn't even know there was... Oh, the system requirements is the PC Engine. Clever. Like that. So the reason why, and it should become familiar to you, it's basically a modified Nintendo DS case. That's literally what it is. It's like a 3D printed Nintendo DS case that doesn't really do a good job of holding this in very well. That's fine. We're going to put that to the side for a second. Here's like they don't even get a manual anymore. It's literally just a QR code that you get, and that's it. See, there's nothing even on the back. So if you're looking for a paper manual, you're SOL. It comes in this, sorry, the tripod's on my leg. It comes packaged in this plastic baggie, and we're going to open that right now. And here's the meat and potatoes. Same thickness as the other card, but it does fit. But there's variations of how it would fit. He told me to just take the screws out, and it looks like if you get it from him, they're not Torx screws, they're Phillips screws. So it'll be easy enough to just take off the cover to use in the Duo. But there are other people that have taken, I believe it was a 9/16 drill bit, and just drilled the hole a little bigger, so the screws would be flush with the card. So you could do either way, but for the for the purposes of my video, I'm just going to take the cover off, since I'm more going to use this in other products when I get them, because right now the only Turbo product I have is the Duo. So we got the revision on the back, made in early 2023. So it's more made in Ukraine. So that's the reason why it's so hard to get one of these. Now, he is shipping them out. It's just that because of the war going on, he only ships out so many at a time. You got the reset button here. You got a USB card for USB for development. I believe that is a USB micro. And of course your micro SD goes here. It's hard to see it because the black unit, but it goes there. So now that we went on the overview with this Turbo Everdrive, let's go to the computer and set it up. All right, we're at the PC now, and we're about to set up this SD card for the Turbo Everdrive Pro, micro SD card to be exact. And yes, it says Analog Duo because that's the one I used before the jailbreak, but it's fine because all we're going to be doing is testing this out anyway. I mainly use the jailbreak now, but as I said before, now the good thing about the Turbo Everdrive Pro, yeah, you can still use it on the Analog Duo, and for certain things it might be more compatible, but also you can use it on any Turbografx or PC Engine item. You can also use it on your Analog Pocket with the adapter because there's no CD core right now for the Turbografx CD. So many things you could it's still a valuable product to have. So I'm going to walk you through how to set this up, or start setting it up, I should say. So first of all, we got our SD card formatter, and we're going to do a quick format. You don't have to have a volume label. It's easier for me to figure out which SD card is what, so I'm going to go TED_Pro, and we're going to format. And it's also good to have the name because this way it tells me what drive is what. And as you can see, it says EXFAT, and that's what we're going to use for our SD card. Now we're going to go to, that's for switch, but we're going to go to the main folder here, TED Pro. I could always do the switch stuff later. As you can see, I'm working on so many things right now. Anyway, we're on the Turbo Everdrive Pro page, and the reason why is because we're going to go to firmware update, and we're going to check the beta, see if there's any betas, and there isn't that we can use. So the latest as of this recording is, actually it was released today. Holy shit. Well, when you know about that, when it's like Jim Cornette would say in his shoot interviews, wouldn't you know who won the pony? 30624, that's exactly when I'm recording. And it must have just been released because he runs off European time, and the European timestamp is 5 hours from where we're at currently. So the new firmware was actually just released a few minutes ago. So right now, as we're recording this, the firmware is version 105. So we're going to go to my wares. No, we're going to go TED Pro, put there because I back it up afterwards. So right to the SD card it goes. And this is why I tell you guys, it's always great to have stuff on your micro SD. I should say the where's folder. It's always good to back up your stuff because you can see I got plenty of backups here. And the reason for that is because, especially now that certain companies are being sue happy now, and fuck them, by the way. And I'm going to go to the Mr. folder because this is where I have a majority of my ROM sets. And it's always good for when I do reviews on flash cards, I know where to go. So we're going to go to TGF16. We're going to take this whole ROM set. But before we do that, because this plays Hue cards and CDs, I'm going to make a folder on the TED called Hue card. I'm going to put all the Hue cards there. And this is only going to take a few minutes. But likewise, we're also going to make another folder called CD. Now, I don't separate by the different system cards because it's supposed to be automatic. And honestly, if you're a Turbografx fan, you're going to know what's what to get what you want. For example, Gioki Altered Beast only works with the version 1 card. For example, if you want to play the mini game on Dracula X, that works with the regular CD card. Yada yada yada, so forth and so on and so forth. But also for the arcade card games, all it is the Super CD-ROM just with additional RAM. So that's why there's no dumps. If you're new to the Turbo, that's why there's no dumps of the arcade card, because the BIOS is literally the same as the Super System card. It's just that it has more RAM on the card. That's the only thing that the game looks for. It looks for the extra RAM. So we got another 60 seconds to go. So while we do that, let's go into our Turbografx 16 folder and start picking out some games. Now, we're only using a 64 gig card for this because we're doing tests and everything. I recommend, and especially since they're cheap now, and I know some people are going to bitch and complain on the Turbo Reddit or whatever, but who cares? You know, do what you want to do, but this is what I personally do. And it's cheap enough to get these SD cards. For like $20 to $30 at most, you can get a 256 gig micro SD and use that for your Turbo Everdrive Pro, and you'll literally have everything. Like, granted, you're not going to play a majority of the CD games, but it's a lot better than picking and choosing like we have to do here. But for the purposes of this one, I'm only going to pick a couple, so it's going to be real quick. So we're using a 64 gig for this. But for the 256, it's more of a matter of convenience. So you don't have to mess with, okay, did I miss something? Especially when on Turbografx and PC Engine especially, the Japanese release, there's so many hidden gems. There's so many games that you talk to other Turbo owners and, oh, this game's amazing. Oh, this game's fantastic. And then you don't have to worry about, oh my God, do I have it? Because you can go to your SD card and you got it. So basically what I normally do is this whole library that I have here, I trim down from the US versions. So what I do is I literally trim, I make the US version of base. Oh, by the way, I forgot these are the CHDs. These won't work. I use the American versions as base. So I have to go to the Duo backup. Forgot to make CHDs of those. So anyway, I used this US folder as a base. And what I did is I just deleted all of the Japanese ones that had American releases. So the only CDs that are here are American, or American or Japanese. So the only Japanese CDs you have is the ones that weren't released here. So that's what I did here. So with that, it comes around to 190 something gigabytes, which is plenty for the Turbo Everdrive Pro. So anyway, we're going to pick a few games here. And you can see there's 439 games, which is why I literally say, hey, let's just, to have the whole thing on there. It's much easier to deal with because this could take some time. But I'm just going to select a couple, just to drag and drop, so this way you have an idea of it. Because going through 439 items is a pain in the ass. So for you people watching that is on the Turbo Reddit or loves to say, you don't need all that space, let me tell you something. You do need all that space, and the reason why is because it's a pain in the ass to go through all of this and find out what you want to play. And if somebody gives you a recommendation, it's already there. I can understand if, say it's for the Dreamcast library or the PS2 library where it's in the terabytes. Yes, completely understand sticking with a certain hard drive or a certain micro SD. For example, the PS2, I use 512. But for something like the Turbografx, where you can get an SD card for like $20 on eBay, a legit one, by the way, or even on Amazon when there's a sale, if you know what you're doing, it's better to spend the $20 and have everything there than have to pick and choose. So hopefully now that, gives you a little bit of an idea. So we're going to take these couple games and we're just going to drag it to the CD folder, let that go. We're going to grab a couple more games, and then we're going to go back to the Turbo Everdrive Pro and we're going to fire it up. All right, in front of us we have the Analog Duo and a Turbografx, and you'll see the unboxing for this in a little while, as I'm shooting this after I got the Turbografx in. The reason we're showing you these two products is to show you some of the difficulty in using this Turbo Everdrive Pro. Now, if you noticed a few minutes ago when we unboxed it, it had a cover. Now it doesn't. I'll explain why. And the reason why is because when using it in a Turbografx or PC Engine or Turbografx or anything of that family, it goes in just fine because the slot is exposed. But on the Analog Duo, the slot is closed. So it can only get cards of a certain thickness. Now, granted, you could still use the original Turbo Everdrive Pro. Same problem though, and you also have to do a mod wire, I believe. But this one works out of the box provided you remove the cover. But as you can see, with there being no cover, that's a lot easier said than done, because despite using the correct screwdriver, 2 of the screws stripped, taking it out. So what I had to do was I had to literally pry them off with a tweezer. Not tweezer that you use for like splinters, but one of the tweezers used for tools, like screws and stuff. But now that we got the bare board off, you'll see, and with a little bit of difficulty, mind you, that it does go in, and it's got that sort of that kung fu grip that everybody complains about with the NES, but it's in, but as you can see, it's a rather tight fit. So if you're going to use this on an Analog Duo, be aware, not only is it going to be a little bit of a tight fit, but as the display videos that I have recorded will show you, it's not exactly the most compatible, especially on the newer firmware. Because despite them fixing a lot of games, there's still issues with the Everdrive, which means you have a few options, okay? With the jailbreak, you might not want to use your Everdrive, but at the same time, as of the recording of this video, the jailbreak isn't really updated. So you won't get the newer game fixes, and you won't get the save states that were introduced in newer firmware. So it's a tit for tat. Either you deal with this tight thing being in your system and having issues with the save states on the Everdrive versus having no save states at all, or you have the jailbreak but you don't have the current fixes. So as of the recording of this video, this may not be the best option. It's the easiest option to get into, but not the easiest. But for this, fortunately, we have a solution, and we're going to show you right now. Now, the reason we're showing you this box again is because to show you what a piece of crap that it is. As you can see, it's literally just a modified Nintendo DS cartridge box. As you can tell, even by the thing where the DS cart is supposed to go. And you can see it's already starting to break. I haven't had this maybe a month. And only took it out maybe a couple times. But we don't need to worry about that because fortunately there's a store, Stone Age Gamer, that could give you something better. And as always, if you're going to order from Stone Age Gamer, use my affiliate link in the description of every single video that I do. And you'll be supporting a channel and you'll be getting some great stuff. And we got some great stuff in this package. Now, there's one thing that's not PC Engine related. Everything else in here is related to this Turbo Everdrive because you see, while we may have a solution for the cover, a solution for the case, there is also a solution for video out because with this Turbo Everdrive Pro, it can use CD games. But if you're using RF on a PC Engine or whatever the case may be, you won't get stereo out. You have to modify your Turbografx unless you use what's in this box. Because you see, this isn't the only thing that was released with the Turbo Everdrive Pro. You don't just, there's not the card just released. There's something else. And we're going to unbox that something else right now, along with some great products from some great people. And we're going to unbox this right now. This just came UPS today. Oh God, peanuts. Jesus Christ. Why does it have to be peanuts? And this will come in cents in a couple minutes. Same with this. Give me 1 second. I gotta navigate through the nuts. Do we even have it in here? Oh, wait a minute. It's fully assembled. Huh. I was hoping to show the assembly, but I guess we're not going to see the assembly. But anyway, first of all, we're going to save this for last because it has nothing to do with Turbografx. First of all, we have a better box from Stone Age Gamer. These are the bit boxes. And as you can see, we have one for the Turbo Everdrive Pro. Now, this cover is reversible, but we're going to leave it like this because it's the black board for the Everdrive. It's available in black and white. And as you can see, Turbo Everdrive Pro. Play your library of Turbografx 16 PC engine and TG16 PC CD-ROM games on a single cart. Use a micro SD along with an easy-use interface to play your backups and convenience of an emulator with the accuracy of original hardware. And it's really nice and thin. It's almost like a Disney clamshell. Oh, wait. Here it is. I'll show you that in a second. And inside we have all of the things you would expect from a Stone Age Gamer release if you get the deluxe edition. By the way, if you got any Everdrive from Crix in certain other products like the Mega SD, you can order these through Stone Age Gamer and it comes with all of this cool stuff. First, you have a full color user manual. That's well done. You get a sticker for the flash card of your choice. In this case, it's the Turbo Everdrive Pro because we bought the Turbo Everdrive Pro box. Stone Age Gamer sticker and a troubleshooting guide. And we could slide it in right here. Now, if you also have loose carts, there's bit boxes also available for pretty much every single loose cart you could think of. Like, say you need a box for Mario 3. You can get a bit box for Mario 3 or for Sonic 3 or for whatever you want. As long as it's cart-based, you should have it. And of course, the Everdrive fits in nice and snug in there, but we're not going to put it in there yet because we have a cover. This is the Turbo Everdrive Pro faceplate from Humble Bazooka. And it goes into the unit just like this. Let's see if we can line up the screw holes. I gotta put the screws in, but it lines up just like this. And you have a much nicer cover for your Turbo Everdrive needs. So we're gonna do that later. But it's available separately, especially if you have a PC Engine or a Core Graphics as I showed. And fortunately for the consumer, unfortunately for me, because I hope to show you guys the putting together of the shell, but it's nice to know that if you get this from Stone Age Gamer, it comes fully assembled. It's the EDFX. The 16 is just the branding because I bought the Turbografx version because eventually I want to get a Turbografx. And the project that I'm working on with that Core Graphics you saw earlier is going to make it sort of a Japanese Turbografx. So anyway, this is the companion to this. And with these two together, and by the way, ignore the sliding off because I didn't put the screws in yet. These are companion products. So, you know how the Super SD System 3 or the Super HD System 3 has HDMI out for the HD, or this is basically on par with the Super SD. Because here you got a Genesis 2 port. It plugs into the back of the Core Graphics or PC Engine, even the American Turbografx, and it's a little device about this big. You can hold it in the palm of your hand. And with this, you can get composite out. You can get, I think, S-Video out. I'm not sure, but I know you can also get RGB out. And it's just a little device. And since I ordered the optional cover, it usually doesn't come with a cover. It usually comes with plastic, with the standoffs like you would with a Mister. But since I ordered with the cover, it comes fully assembled. And that's where this comes in. This is my brand that I love to use all the time. This is an Insurrection RGB SCART for the Sega Genesis Model 2. And this is an optional add-on, but it works perfectly with the EDFX. And it's just an amazing product. I use this a lot on my OSSC. And here are the full product line for that Turbo Everdrive Pro. I'm going to put the screws in here and I'm going to show everything set up. Alright, we have our core graphics and I'm going to show you just in a few seconds how to set up the Turbo Everdrive Pro and the EDFX. First we have our Turbo Everdrive Pro with its new cover. And as you can see, I only got the 2 screws because they were the only 2 screws that work. And by the way, this takes some patience to put on because as with all 3D prints, sometimes there's some little inaccuracies, but once you tap the screws, you're fine. So we're going to put it in the core graphics, just like that. By the way, it's going to look a lot better once we get the new shell and everything in. Now we're going to take the EDFX. We got our expansion port in the back here. And by the way, mind the pins. Make sure get nice and flush, just like that. And then we take the SCART cable, obviously unwrap the little things that come with it. Now I'm not going to unwrap it fully, I'm just going to unwrap it to show you it working. Now you take the arrow side up and just stick it in the back here. And mind the pins in this is also. And you have an EDFX and its core graphics ready for your OSSC or your RetroTink, whatever upscale you use that accepts SCART. And that's pretty much all there is to it. This is the EDFX and the Turbo Everdrive Pro. One of the best solutions you can have, especially with original hardware. Not so great maybe on the Analog Duo, but that's the point of this whole series, to show you the various options that you have with getting into Turbografx 16 or the PC Engine. So for now, this is Rachel Schaefer, Twin Family, signing off. I'm going to capture some footage on this. I already captured footage for the Duo. You'll be seeing that with this being uploaded. So until next time, take care.